Hello, everybody. Blaze from Blazing Flame Studio back again. And today, episode 2 of Community Creation. Today, I'm going to be going through how to make a much smaller edit than the AMV that I've made previously. You may have seen the list of Disney dance edits that I've been having go around, and today I'm going to show you exactly my process for making those. So, first, starting out right about here. Always checking the wavelength is always going to be super helpful for things like that. And let's see what we've got here. For those who are curious, this is what the bass track sounds like before any editing. So this is what it looks like without edits. Now the first thing we need to do is kick up when it actually starts getting into the main beat, which is about right about here. So we can go ahead and Control K. And let's see, how high up do we want to put this? I've been putting it around. Let's start with our solid 5.6 and let's see what the jump looks like. I think we can go slightly higher. 15 is a bit much. 8.2. There we go. That we can work with. Now, moving on from that, let's see here. What we need to do for the very start, because we have about 13, 14 seconds of what is effectively dead space at the moment. What we're instead going to do is fill that up with some voice lines. Now, an epic voice line is the penultimate thing for something like this. So in the past, what I have done is work alongside some epic quotes. For example, Answer Me Nouvellette is a popular one on shorts right now. Let's see, what else have I used in the recent past? I've used Raiden Shogun, where she speaks about no longer being a puppet. So, whoops, I'm transparent. You can see right through me. And what else have I done in recent? I'm working on My Day. which should be interesting. I don't know a ton of quotes by My Day, but I'm hoping to get one out. And then Risley's, if the Duke wants somebody dead, he needs no justification. Now for Albedo, there's a few quotes you could probably pull from. I have chosen, well, directly after having to split it from its background music over in our good friend Dragonspine. Let's see how well this lines up immediately. It's still a bit much, but we're able to edit it. So let's see what this looks like on first pass.
You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you?
Now we need to edit that so it's obviously not gonna, it's gonna end right there. So let's see. We still need a bit of space so it flows naturally. So we can delete here. We definitely need to Control Z that. There we go. Let's try this.
Day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything. Can I rely on you to stop?
I feel like doing so, we get rid of the natural spacing of the quote. What happens if we get rid of the spacing here? That way we don't throw off the natural part of the quotation, because I believe these are technically two separate parts in the original. That's still a bit much. I think we can work with this if it works.
You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop?
Still need to get rid of a little bit more, but I think we can probably take that from the center here without too much difficulty, because we can still have a large amount of space in between. And obviously, this doesn't matter. You can leave it as is.
Destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything. Can I rely on you to stop?
There we go. Perfect transition. Now we just need something for the start here. Now I think the best way to do that would be, if I remember correctly, there is a clip from the 2.2 trailer. Now let's see if I can find it in my plethora of saves for making videos. 1.2, that was Chalk Prince and the Dragon. We port that over here. Also, be sure to lock anything that you don't want accidentally getting replaced, though Control Z can obviously prevent that if you do that on accident. Let's go ahead and delete this, since we don't want that just random space being taken up. Go ahead and lock this, and let's see. Now let's start out with, let's see what this.
You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined.
No, not quite. He's talking about ether slash lumine in this scene, so what if we pulled ether out for this?
If one day
Something like this, or if not talking about ether, but you can get a good inference from here, particularly from if I destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, will you be able to stop me?
you and I are alike, both fully defined.
Let's see what this looks like.
You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined.
We need it to reach to there. So can we, with the magic of editing, get it to that point?
Both composed
What happens if we do a nice little transition here?
Both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control.
Well, the problem is palette shows up there at the last minute. So to get rid of palette, we would need to be there. But we need this to reach here. So what happens if we go back any further? It's still... We're just like one frame of it before it gets too dark. Yeah, if we go any further back, then that doesn't work. So what we can do, 95% speed should give us what we need. Looks like it. Now let's make sure... Yep, there we go. Go ahead and do that same default transition. Yep.
And I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop?
What do we have that could reflect him destroying everything? There is the cutscene of Albedo destroying everything, but that's false Albedo. But it might work for if one day I lose control. Let's see. I think a dip to white will work best since we have a naturally transitioning white transfer at this clip here. So let's see if we've got a good dip to white. We do.
Find if one day I lose control.
Destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything. So we have Albedo's character teaser where Sucrose is warning him about what he's doing, but I don't know if anything there fits. That's just him painting. But he does... Oh, hang on. Hang on. A dip to black could be useful here.
Control. Destroy Mondstadt. Destroy Mondstadt.
Need a little bit more out of that dip to black. Let's see how this looks.
Destroy Mondstadt.
What would we have for destroy everything? What would we have for that? If anybody has any good suggestions of an Albedo clip that would fit that, feel free to leave it in the chat. I will definitely look into it. This could work. This looks kind of evil-esque. Another dip to black. Is that both sides, or is that only... It's only one side. Why is it only one side? Can we get it on both? There we go.
Destroy everything. Can I rely on everything? Can I rely on you to stop?
We can get that sped up just enough so he pulses his hand right as you get to the climax there. Then I think we've got a good starting point to start doing the main part of the edit. And that looks like it's perfect. Let's see if this works.
Destroy Mondstadt. Destroy everything. Can I rely on you to stop?
Alright, and for that, I did recognize something from the 1.2 trailer I think that we can use. Let's see if I can find it. The slow-mo of Albedo, where he's fighting the Ruin Guard at the very back here. Right there. That can be our natural transition point because it's already very bright. And it's got a bit of a fuzz to it, so it'll look very natural. One of the things that I do as an editor that I don't see a lot of other AMV makers doing, Phoenix May, one of the few that also does it or did it at some point, is I rely more on the natural transition rather than forced transition. Dip to black is something nice, but I try not to use it a ton. You saw where the dip to white happened. I had already had a fade to white happening in the previous clip. It takes a lot of skill to do the forced transitions, the cut betweens, and things like that. I also think there's a lot of skill, though more subtle, in the natural transition, where you can find a clip that's fading to white and another clip that's fading to white, and then they'll dip in and out of each other naturally. That way, it feels obviously more natural and can be more appealing to the eye than some over the top flashy edit. So let's see what this looks like.
Just stop.
That doesn't quite line up the way I wanted to, so let's see. We need it to line up here. So we once again use the natural transition point here. We need to speed that up a bit there at the end, but we do have something working here. Right there is when we first lose sight of the Ruin Guard, or the hypostasis. So this is the part we need to speed up, and we need to get rid of the tail end of this, where it shows only the Chalk Prince and the Dragon static image. Going frame by frame, we can determine that this is where we lose it. There we go. So we need this to speed up to there. So how fast do we need to make it? Let's start with 150 as a benchmark. 150 is a little bit too fast, so instead we'll do a 160. Wait, that's going in the opposite direction. I'm smart. Let's try 130. Okay. Let's take a look here. Interesting. Did we lose the natural transition point here as a result of the speed up? I feel like we did. That's where we need it to be. Try 125. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Because now we need it to be way back here. Looks like 133 was the hotspot. Now we can pull directly from Albedo's trailer, because now we need some combat scenes to really push this. So let's make this fit to frame size, but that's not going to quite work, so we'll go to fill frame. But will it work? We fit to frame now? No. So we're going to keep it the way it is. That's another natural transition point. It's going to be moving on to the next section, so we can go ahead and split it off right here. Good up until the right. Very nice timing so that the flower blooms right where it does, which is right. We're a couple frames off of that being perfectly synced. Let's let it move on to the next frame as a result. From here, we should just be able to do a natural... It was already a fade in. Let's see if we can do a fade in. We can. Moving on to the next frame. It's already another natural fade in point, so we should be able to work with that again. That looks like it's going to work out really well. It in fact did. Let's do something a little sudden. Here we can transfer to Albedo, line down, and then maybe when he crushes the butterflies when the video ends. And we end on an explosion, which works out pretty well. Now, we can experiment with some transition points that we have here. Let's see. How much of a... We use this as a way to end it by going to this. We don't have a lot of time before the fade-in happens, but we can work with that by means of Let's speed this down to 50%.
You and I.
All right, now let's look at it in its completion and see what changes we want to make.
They are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything.
One thing I immediately notice is right here. It's not necessarily needed, but what we can do here is a fade to black. We can cut this in half, do a fade to black, so it naturally works with the other two fades to black that we have here. So dip to black, let's see if that makes it quote-unquote better.
If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop?
A bit of an experiment. Let's try experimenting with some more fades to black in this piece here. Everywhere where frames swap, let's try a fade to black and see if we like it better or worse. Transition point. We'll keep that one due to its natural transition. Now, a dip to black there could be useful, because it is a bit sudden. And one other thing I like to experiment with in my videos is the use of Luma key. Now, Luma key works on accentuating the, how do I put this? Accentuates the colors and kind of darkens the overall image. As you saw, it just got a lot darker there. This is more of a darker tone with the initial cut and context of the quote that we're using. So let's see what we think when we add Luma key to this video. Also, let's go ahead and you don't need to do this, but it's nice to declutter your space when possible. Go ahead and get rid of that because it's completely unnecessary.
You and I are alike, both composed of a substance that has yet to be fully defined. If, one day, I lose control, destroy Mondstadt, destroy everything, can I rely on you to stop?
I do think that the darker tone kind of adds to the story of what this clip is, what this edit is trying to tell. I still don't like this. It feels just too sudden, so we need to figure out some way to make that better. What video transitions do we have? Iris? No, Iris isn't going to do it. Immersive video. What kind of chroma leaks could we work with? Not horrible. We'll keep it on the down. That didn't do anything. Yeah, that did nothing at all. So gradient doing nothing there. What about an iris swipe? Swipe also doing nothing unless it just hasn't loaded yet, but it definitely doesn't appear like it's doing anything. Light leaks. Now that fits with some of the other clips we've used where it changes color. But definitely. I believe that is everything we can do. This video will not be monetized due to the song I'm using. So please, if you did enjoy this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all the things that help me and the YouTube algorithm get along. And while we're in the mood of checking something out, why don't you check out the Blazing Flame Studio partners? Phoenix May, a great AMV editor and YouTuber in general. Voila. I apologize for mispronouncing that. The Popular Music Group, who has been very kind to work with me on multiple occasions. And the Noel Maines Community Festival, a collaboration between about 40 or 50 different servers to provide a fun space for Genshin, Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Honkai Impact 3rd, and Wuthering Waves fans to hang out, participate in a variety of events, and the like. Well, everybody, it is Blaze from Blazing Flame Studio saying thank you once again. This video will be going live for today's post. And until next time, everybody, this is Blaze from Blazing Flame Studio, signing off.